Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna be looking at Star Wars The Black Series Cal Kestis from the new Star Wars game Jedi Survivor. Now right away I have to say I loved the first game, Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm so happy that now we are getting a sequel and we get to see what will happen with this character and we get to play even more, you know, so yeah, a big fan of the game. But for the figure, at first I planned on skipping this guy because I have the Cal Kestis, the first release that Hasbro made for the Black Series line. This was not something that's interesting to me in terms of action figure, but in time I changed my mind and I decided to get him and to pose him and to make a review. So right from the start, let's take a look at this comparison. This is the first version that was released in the line and this is the new one. Now, the first game came out in 2019 and you can see that there are some differences in the sculpt, not only in design and the look of the character, but in the way that Hasbro designed these two guys. The proportions are definitely different just by the look of it. You can see that the head on the older version is a lot bigger, and it's not just because of the hair, but the whole head is actually bigger than this new one. There is a lot more shading on the new figure. I don't know, in terms of look, I would say that the new Cal Kestis, at least to me, resembles a bit more to the actor who plays Cal Kestis in the game than the first one. But that's just me, you know, you don't have to agree with me. Yeah, the proportions are different. I would say that the new Cal Kestis is a bit more slimmer, and again, it's not just because of the way that the design works and the outfit for the first and second game. Look at his arms. If you take a look at his right arm, and both versions have this half sleeve right arm, you can definitely see that this one is much more slimmer and smaller, I would also say. Something about this release is a lot more slimmer. I don't know the reason for that. Is that something that's more accurate to the actor? But yeah, the character definitely looks different than what we saw with this first Black Series release. Now, of course, Cal Kestis comes with his trusty little BD droid, and we can also compare the two. The one that comes with the new Cal Kestis is here, and this is the old BD1. And I would say that it's the same little figure, it's the same sculpt, definitely, but the only thing that's different is the paint. There are some small differences in the way that Hasbro painted these two guys. For example, you can see that there is no red paint around his black eye here, and there is on the previous release. Also, his little nostrils, let's call them, are painted on the older version and they are blank on the new one. The silver is a little bit darker on the new release. Down at the chest you can see that now we get a lot more silver, and this red stripe also falls down to this silver part, and that was not the case on the previous release. On the side you can see that we also get almost the same paint. The difference is that on this new version the red goes to the end here, and on the previous one it stops before we get to this joint. On the back you can see that the previous release had the back painted in dark silver, and there is no paint on the new release. And also the older version had these wires on his legs painted in yellow, and on this new release you can see that those wires are still here, but they are not painted. Those are the differences between these two little droids. For the lightsaber, you can see that this is the new saber. They are different in the design and in thickness, because the new one is much more thinner than the first release. You can see that the hilt is a lot bigger and that the blade is also thicker. The hilts are obviously different, they have a different design, and the new one even has this little loop down here to storage the hilt on his belt. Our new Cal comes with a new accessory that the previous releases didn't have, and that is his blaster pistol. And this looks a lot like a revolver, but with a little more technical details here so that it looks more sci-fi like. The silver is really good and the handle is painted as well, and I would say that this accessory looks really good. Now we can take a closer look at our new Cal Kestis from Jedi Survivor, and you can see that his face is a little bit glossy. It's not as bad as some of the previous releases, but other than that, I would say that the sculpting and the paint is done really nice. The hair is also nicely sculpted. There is a little bit of wash in it so that these sculpted details are a bit more visible. This part is an overlay over the base body underneath. It's done really good. There is this flap, and that's the way that it's sculpted. You can't move this. A lot of design details on the jacket. Here we have a strap that is also sculpted. It's not a separate piece. And we have here the shoulder part, which is, I'm guessing, something that BD can use for, you know, when he is riding on Cal's back. Speaking about that, this time they didn't give us any hole or something on the back that we could use for BD to attach to Cal's back, and that's unfortunate. I would say that that's an essential part of this combo. If you are like me, you would probably want to display these two guys together like this, but that is not something that you can do. I already recorded a posing video for this figure, and I played around a little bit with those attempts to pose BD on Cal's back, and what I did is tucked his feet here inside like this, and then turned his head to the side like this, and then in this way tried to get that kind of a pose that you would like for these two characters. But I mean, it obviously falls out really easy, so it would be great if they gave us something here on the back, maybe some kind of a loop sculpted on this strap, but they didn't do that, and that's unfortunate. The rest of the figure, we have his belt, and this is pegged to the figure here in the back. This holster is looped around his leg, so it's not connected to the leg, so that's good for the articulation. At first I thought that this will be the loop where you put the lightsaber hilt, and maybe that's true in the game, I don't know. At the moment when I'm recording this video, the game still hasn't been released, you know. You storage the hilt of a lightsaber here on this side, where you get this little notch. The holster is looking really good. There is no shading on it, so it looks kind of plasticky. We have pouches here and a lot of these nicely sculpted details on the pants. We have his boots, and again a lot of details, wrinkles down here, and yeah, I think that the sculpting and the paint is really good on this figure. For his articulation, his head is on a ball joint, but there is a cut up here and then at the bottom of the neck. But for some reason, that neck just doesn't move that much. It doesn't give you the range. It kind of like flexes and wants to stay in place. So I don't know what's up with that. I mean, they did make a cut, and there should be more movement in the neck and the head, but for some reason it's really limited. So the head does move side to side, and it rotates 360. He looks up, well, slightly, it's almost nothing, and then down, the same thing, almost nothing. It's really limited, and it shouldn't be when you look the way that it's designed. So I don't know why it is like this. His arms go up this much. We get a butterfly joint, a swivel in the elbow, and the elbow bends this much. We get a lightsaber holding hand that goes up and down, and on the other side we have a trigger finger hand for holding his blaster, and it also goes up and down. There is a cut in the torso, so you can move him side to side. He can crunch back a little bit, forward also a little bit. The legs go out this much, they move forward this much, back this much. There is a thigh swivel, single bend in the knee, no boot cut, but we have a swivel in the knee. The feet go back this much, forward this much, and we get an ankle pivot. For BD1 we get a ball joint here in the neck, so that The head can swivel and rotate 360. We got a little bit of wobbling here. He looks down this much, up this much. His legs are on a ball joint, so you can move them forward and backward. There is a little bit of out with the legs. And there is also another joint here that gives you more movement for the legs. And that's practically all that you get out of this guy, and I'm sure that that's good enough. Let's now compare our new Kestis with some other figures. Here he is with the Black Series Stormtrooper and the Black Series Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. Here he is with Bandai Model Kit Darth Vader with custom soft goods and Bandai Model Kit First Order Executioner. Here he is with the SH Figure Arts Jedi Luke Skywalker and Mafex The Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. Here he is with Marvel Legends movie Deadpool and Marvel Legends movie Iron Man from Thanos 2-pack. And then finally here he is with Nota Studios Nota Man base body for custom with custom soft goods and NECA Mirage Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael bootleg from AliExpress. All in all, this is a great release. I'm really satisfied that I got this figure. I feel like it's improvement in comparison with the first release in the Black Series, and he looks slimmer, more agile. The only thing is that I would like to have more movement in that neck articulation. I don't know why is it so stiff as it is, but all of the other things I really like. That BD1 droid is practically the same as we got before. It's a great release for the Black Series line, and yeah, I'm really happy that I added this guy to my collection, and I'm really looking forward to playing Jedi Survivor, and yeah, that's it. But now it's up to you guys. Let me know, what do you think about this figure? Do you have it? Do you plan on getting it? What do you think about the game, the first one and the second one? Will you be playing it, or do you play it right now, depending when this video will be up on the channel? Let me know down in the comments. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this video. Stay tuned for the next episode for a posing video of this guy. Thank you all for watching, thank you for being here with me, and I'll see ya in the next video.